what's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some of the dumbest things that Americans have ever said. We are back once again to see exactly what my fellow Americans are capable of saying in complete ignorance. I'm still shocked by some of the things I've heard. These videos are genuinely difficult to watch at times. And with that being said, let's watch. Let's take a look, why not, at some of the dumbest things that Americans have said to other people. Let's see what we have today.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So this was when I was in high school, and this was about a sub. She was violently racist. Like, she would go up to hijabi students and say stuff like, "This is a safe space. You guys can take that off."
Oh my gosh, there's so many layers to that one. That's amazing. That's amazing how deep that one statement is. How offensive that one statement is. Without even meaning to, I think that American doesn't even realize. Going up to people who are wearing like a hijab, kind of virtue signaling and being like, "Oh, this is a safe space. You don't have to be wearing that, religious garment that I know a lot of people wear like as part of their religion willingly. They don't want to take it off." So it's insulting on another level that you don't even understand their culture or religion or whatever reason they want to wear whatever they want. Oh my gosh, and the fact that it's under this pretext of, "Oh, you can take that silly thing off. Like, this is safe space. Yeah, it's fine." Like, it's just, that one hurt. That's deep. That one hurts deep.
So one day I'm sitting there, I'm complaining to my friends about my counselor because my schedule was all messed up. I put in so many requests. My counselor was lazy and she was not getting it done. So I'm loudly complaining about it.
Okay.
And this sub, the nosy bitch that she is, she comes up in front of me and she's like,
Oh my
"Hey,
God.
I couldn't help but to overhear. If the counselor's not getting what you need done, my advice to you is to have your parent email." Does your mother know English? Another
Should I be surprised? Should I even be surprised? Wow. Wow. See, I don't know what's worse here. That the American saying all this to her numerous times is being racist, or the fact that it seems like they don't even know they're being racist, which somehow almost makes it worse. It's probably not worse, because just a racist who's trying to be racist is a horrible human being, and that's the worst. That's the worst person. Someone who doesn't know that they're being racist, like, that's bad in a whole different way. Like, "Oh, do your parents even speak English? I just need to know, because of, oh man. Wow. Okay. This is really interesting. I think it's a good thing, honestly, for me and other Americans, really, to hear these kinds of experiences,
day she was talking to one of the white girls about her boyfriend and completely unmerited turned around to me and asked, "You wouldn't be able to do that, right? Because you guys get forced into marriage?"
Wow. Wow. It's pretty amazing what Americans will, like, unabashedly say. Now, there are cultures out there that do arranged marriages, and I'm guessing that's what this American was thinking of, but it's just like saying these things without knowing, like, for sure, saying these things with such confidence, like, "Oh, that's your culture, that's how you do things. You can't choose who you marry, right? Right?" Like, it's that, like, aggressive sort of ignorant statements that are, I don't know, it seems like a lot of Americans in these videos do that. And it's really cringy and like a problem. Oh.
Excuse me, lady. Do you speak Asian?
What?
I'm sorry, what? Asian? Which Asian? There are like over 2,000 languages spoken in Asia.
Right.
I'm looking for rice wine. I mean, here you go, but it literally says rice wine in English. Do you know if this one...
There. Do you speak Asian? That's one of the most American questions I've ever heard. Excuse me, do you speak Asian? That is just about perfect.
Is
Wow.
spicy? I mean, I guess so. There's literally a chicken blowing a fire on that bottle. Ah, thank you.
Oh my gosh. This seems to be a theme as well though. I got to say. Americans are sort of racist, sort of stereotype people, but don't even seem to realize it, or don't even know how annoying or offensive they're being. It's just a product of Americans being ignorant or stupid about things, where it's really an interesting phenomenon, truly, is what I'm learning here. Don't get me wrong, there's fair share of Americans out there who are being stereotypical and racist on purpose. But these examples are kind of funny because it's like the Americans don't even know it, which is kind of amusing to me.
Oh man, I've got so many of these from Mill Talk. For real, I've got so many.
Oh boy.
And like a recent video, the British version of English is way different than the American version.
Right.
For instance, and I'm not going to say here on TikTok, but how to smoke a cigarette in the UK is very derogatory and dark as an American.
True. Very true.
My biggest pet peeve, though, is
Smoking a fag, right? That's like actually a British term that's offensive here in America. Yes, true.
if I introduce myself as an American, America is not 3 places, 4 places. There are more places than Texas, New York, California, and Florida.
True.
Seriously, everybody thinks we're either from New York, California, or Texas.
What, is this like the reverse? Is this like the reverse things people have said about America to Americans? Yeah, how do we like it? You're either from one of those 4 places. Those are like 4 of the most famous places in the United States, I suppose, you know.
No, we're not. Sorry, try again.
Okay, that was like reverse. That wasn't like a dumb thing Americans have said. That's like stereotypes other people have about America. It's funny to actually see the reverse of that. It's like when Americans think like the only place in the UK, oh, you're from London. Oh, French people. Oh, you're from Paris, right? Like there's only one place, you know. It's like that.
Hi, I'm American. So this was in high school during one of our art classes.
Okay.
So as we're drawing, we do small talk, and somehow we got on a topic of overpopulation.
Okay.
Mind you, this was 2013 when the Philippines was getting messed up by floods.
Okay.
This one
Okay.
girl says, it's good that the Philippines getting messed up by floods, you know, because of overpopulation.
What?
And I'm like dumbstruck.
Yeah. Yeah, so am I. What? This American was saying what? It's good Filipino people are dying and drowning in floods? That's a good thing? Because of overpopulation? That's the most offensive thing so far on this entire video. This American is saying it's a good thing people are dying. What? That's crazy. What?
And the girl next to her goes, dude, she's Filipino. And that girl looks over to me and she's like, oh, I didn't know she was Filipino. I thought she was Asian.
Of course. That's just the cherry on top. Of course. So that American would have said that if this girl wasn't there. She would have like unabashedly said it, and she didn't seem all that embarrassed anyway when she was called out. That's horrible. That's a horrible person right there. What? It's good people are having their lives ruined and losing their lives in floods because of overpopulation. I have never heard that before. Wow. That's a new low.
Okay, so basically like 7 or 8 years ago, I was at Victoria Coach Station in London. And I met this American girl, and we started talking, and she's like, "Oh my God, where you from?" And I was like, "Well, I was born and raised in Romania, but I've been living in England for like 3 years now."
Okay.
And we started talking about different topics, blah, blah. And then we started talking about politics.
Oh, boy.
And I don't actually remember what I said, but I was talking about the Romanian president.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh my God, he did this and blah, and I'm not really into politics." And then she looked at me like she was flabbergasted. Like,
what?
Wow. And then she asked me,
Well, I mean, for one thing, most Americans, including myself, don't know anything about Romania. Most Americans probably could not point it out on a map. So I don't know what opinion this American could have on Romania or the Romanian president. Really nothing, really.
"Oh, you guys have a president as well? I thought it was just an American thing."
What? Again. It's like, sometimes these Americans don't mean to be rude, but just the willingness to say what's in our American brains out loud, we need to dial it back a bit. For one thing, they should have known that other countries around the world have presidents and prime ministers and all sorts of stuff like that, all different types of governments. So, I'm not totally shocked by this one. In a way, I'm not totally shocked by this. And yet I am at the same time. It's amazing that Americans are willing to say this out loud. Be like, "I didn't know other places could have a president. That was our thing." That's just like being stuck in the American bubble right there. Perfect example.
So I'm an American expat who's lived abroad for over 10 years.
Okay.
And every year I hear other Americans ask, "Why doesn't this country celebrate Thanksgiving?"
This one doesn't shock me either somehow. Because it's like, in America, Thanksgiving is so like widely celebrated. Everyone looks forward to it. It's a huge event when it happens. True American, like, wonderful time of year. Everyone has fond memories of Thanksgiving their entire life. So this is just like example of Americans not knowing about any other countries or learning about any other cultures or getting any exposure to the outside world, outside of America. That Americans think like everyone celebrates Thanksgiving, which has like literally roots here in America, that holiday.
I tell everyone I'm Canadian now.
So before having an American driver's license, I only had my Danish one, and I had to use that at the store, at a Walmart. And the cashier looks at my Danish driver's license, and she goes, "Oh, where are you from?" And me, I tell her, "Oh, I'm from Denmark."
Right.
And she says, "Oh, where's that?" And I say, "It's in Scandinavia."
I mean, this is the least surprising example to me so far. Least surprising story. Americans, including myself, like, don't know where a lot of European countries are. A lot of countries in the rest of the world. Let's be honest here. Not just even Europe. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in our little geography classes growing up. It's hard to even learn our 50 states here in America. A lot of us struggle with that even. So maybe that explains it. Oh boy.
And she goes, "Oh, where's that?"
Okay.
And I tell her, "That's in Europe." And she goes, "Oh, so in Canada."
Huh? Wait, what? I was giving them a pass here. At least the American is being honest and upfront about not knowing where Denmark is or Scandinavia. But now they don't know where Europe is? They think it's, in Canada? Europe's in Canada? I've never heard that one before. That's not excusable. The rest was barely excusable by American standards. This is just like troubling. What?
I did not know how to respond to that.
You can't.
I live in Arizona, and I graduated high school here. But one of my first days in high school, this girl sat next to me in English class.
Okay.
She was like, "Oh, where you from?" And then I tell her I'm from Denmark, and she's like, "Oh, isn't that in Chicago?"
Some of these are just funny. There was a couple here at the beginning of this video that were straight up like offensive, like beyond offensive. These are just kind of funny. Relatively harmless American ignorance here. Okay.
I went to school in the States, so I got a lot of these. But my favorite is when I call myself Asian. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were Asian. You look Indian."
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. Americans definitely have a stereotype of what being Asian means. And that's not right, because there's other places in Asia. For some reason, Americans don't even think about that. I don't know why. That is definitely an American thing. Not thinking about India as part of Asia for some reason. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, it's not good.
The dumbest thing I can remember was like 5 years ago. I had been in the States for like 2 months, so I didn't really hate anybody yet. And this lady at work, I walk into her office and she's like, "Oh, where are you from? Because like I hear an accent." And I told her and she's like, "Oh, no offense, but I'm going to offend anyways. But I love how Hispanic people, you guys just don't care about problems. You just care about the music, the food, and sex. And fiestas."
What? She just stereotyped all Hispanic people of not caring about problems. I'm sure everyone cares about their problems. What? It's funny. This is another funny one in a way. Because the American here is trying to give a compliment by saying Hispanic people are obsessed with partying and sex. Or, okay, interesting compliment. What?
First of all, let me just start off by saying that it is incredibly difficult to come up with just one story for something like this, but I'm going to try.
Oh, no.
In 2009, I was doing this summer program for high school students in LA where I met this girl who I guess was super fascinated by the fact that I was originally from India.
Okay.
One day, she asked me, she was like, "How do you guys get around where you're from?" I was like, "What do you mean, how do we get around?"
There are definitely, there's definitely like harmful stereotypes like this of, for some reason, Americans think in a lot of other countries around the world, they like don't have technology or something, or like they're not as advanced as America. That's extremely like racist and stereotypical and just ignorant to say. And God, like, oh, that's so cringy thinking about her saying that to him. Like, how do you guys get around? Like they don't have cars? Oh.
We drive. She seemed genuinely confused and she looked at me and she was like, "Wait, you guys have cars in India?" I was like, "Babe, yeah, I'm from New Delhi. It's the capital. Of course we have cars. What?"
Again, it's like it's like a problem here I'm seeing. A lot of Americans in these examples aren't trying to be mean. We just have no idea what we're talking about and are willing to make that obvious and even talk about it like it's not embarrassing or something. Oof. Oh.
She very seriously looked at me and said, "I thought you guys rode elephants everywhere."
What? What? Let's keep going. Nothing. I'm numb. I'm died. I've passed away. Oh, that did it. Nothing can shock me now. But I'm sure it can. Let's keep going.
My mom's side of the family is from Ecuador, so I ended up living there for 7 years as a kid. So this one day I'm hanging out with my white American ex, and he asks me to show him what it looks like where my family lives. So I dropped a little Google pin so I can show him, and he looked so confused, and he turns to me and he says, "Is this a neighborhood?" Long story short, this man was not expecting that we had houses.
I get. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. A lot of, for some reason, Americans have stereotypes about a lot of countries around the world, like not being like America for some reason, like houses and cars. It's very strange. Definitely like a privileged mentality as well.
This came up because it involves this shirt. So the cashier at the Dollar Tree complimented me on my shirt, and he said, "Was Bob Dylan one of the Beatles?" So I said no, but, you know, they were around the same time, so that he wouldn't feel like a complete idiot. And the older lady behind me, who happened to be Australian, scoffs and goes, no, he wasn't. He came way after the Beatles. And I didn't argue with her. I was just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
But I know that I wasn't wrong.
Right.
Like, I wonder if she ever realized that she was wrong, because that was really embarrassing for her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That was another reversal, where the American is getting a little taste of it from an Australian. Okay, that's funny.
I'm late to the trend, but I need to tell this. So a long time ago, I was on vacations with my family in Mexico.
Okay.
And usually we have direct flights from Mexico to Lisbon. Yes, I'm Portuguese.
Okay.
And yeah, we had a direct flight from Lisbon to Cancun, and we were supposed to also have a direct flight from Cancun to Lisbon, but there were problems.
Okay.
So instead, we needed to do a stop in the United States.
Oh boy.
So when we stop at the United States and they ask to see our passports, things got confusing.
Oh.
Because when the policemen took our passports for the control for checking, they said that we could not pass because our passports were wrong.
Passports are wrong? How is that? How can your passport even be wrong? This is disturbing because this is American government workers doing this.
He says that where it says country, it should be Spain, because Portugal is not a country, but a city from Spain.
Wow. This one hurts in another way, in a new way. That's genuinely shocking. That's terrifying. American government worker works for the government, represents our government, doesn't know what Portugal is. That's the fact that can happen. And I don't know. That says a lot about, I guess, our screening processes and Americans in general. And I don't think a lot of Americans would make that mistake right there, thinking Portugal is a city or something. God, that's sad.
Oof, I've got a lot of these because I married an American and I used to live in America, but this was my first experience, and it happened when I was 19 and I was visiting my boyfriend's family for the first time, so I'm trying to make a good impression, and I was sitting at a table of young women, and one of these young ladies turns to me and said, "So where are you from?" Like, I had the audacity to be from somewhere else. And I said, "I'm
Right.
from Australia. I'm from Western Australia."
Right.
And she said, "Oh, that's where my chinchilla is from." And I was like, "Your chinchilla? I don't think those are Australian." And she was like, "Well, they are," and looks at me like I'm the fucking moron who's calling myself Australian and doesn't know the chinchilla, the national animal.
That is one of the most annoying things about this stuff, is when Americans say things to other people from other countries about their country, about where they're from, their culture, and try to correct them or say they're wrong or that we know more. That's infuriating. Yes, I get it.
Of Australia. So I said, "Oh, I don't think they do." So this is 12 years ago, pre-iPhone in the pocket days. So she gets on the living room computer and Googles chinchilla and opens the Wikipedia page and goes to the region section, points to the word Argentina on a map of South America and says, "See, there."
Argentina. She confused Australia and Argentina. That's a perfect one to end on, I think. I think I've had just about as much of these as I can take for today. Holy cow, that was something else. Never ceases to amaze me what Americans are capable of saying. Truly, there's something in the water over here. It's crazy. And I understand why the stereotypes of like ignorant, loud, opinionated American even exists. Because there's stories like this. But I think it's good to take a look at these every now and then. Even if it is a little torturous, it's good to be aware of this stuff and maybe improve ourselves, our American selves a bit. So I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these stories about the dumbest things Americans have ever said. Oh God. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to usually Britain and British culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.